Hey there, welcome back to Midnight Med. This video is on multiple pregnancy. Multiple pregnancy, so that's twins, triplets, and so on, is increasing, primarily due to the rise of assisted reproductive technologies such as IVF. Importantly, multiple pregnancy is associated with issues for both mother and her babies, including increased risk of operative delivery, miscarriage, stillbirth, maternal anemia, and hypertensive disorders of pregnancy. So, first, some key definitions. Monozygotic, often discussed in the case of twins, refers to a single fertilized ovum that divides into two or more embryos. These embryos then develop into identical multiples. Dizygotic, and similarly trizygotic in the case of triplets, and then so on, refers to multiple fertilized ova. One embryo develops from each of these fertilized eggs, and these develop into non identical or fraternal multiples. Amnionicity refers to the number of amniotic sacs surrounding the growing fetuses. Chorionicity refers to the number of placentas supplying the growing fetuses. And now to discuss amnionicity and chorionicity in more detail. These are important as the key complications are generally related to these two important concepts. In dizygotic pregnancies, and trizygotic and so on, each of the embryos will have their own amniotic sac and their own placenta. In dizygotic twin pregnancies, this is known as DCDA, dichorionic and diamniotic. In monozygotic pregnancies, the amnionicity and chorionicity depends on the time at which the ovum divides post-fertilization. If the ovum divides days 1 to 3, then the twins are DCDA. If the division is between days 4 and 8, then the twins are monochorionic and diamniotic, so MCDA. If the division is between days 9 and 13, then the twins are monochorionic and monoamniotic, so MCMA. If the division is after this, then the twins are conjoined. Amnionicity and chorionicity can impact the likelihood of developing key complications. On ultrasound in early pregnancy, an important sign to be aware of in a diamniotic pregnancy is the lambda sign, which indicates the presence of two placental masses. The absence of this sign and the presence of a T sign instead, where the septum dividing the amniotic sacs comes down to a flat surface unlike the lambda sign, then there is one placental mass and the pregnancy is monochorionic. So lambda sign for two placental masses and T sign for one placental mass. As noted, there are some key complications associated with multiple pregnancy. We will discuss how or why they are thought to occur, as well as their monitoring during the pregnancy and some key management principles. Hypertensive disorders of pregnancy have an increased risk of occurring, potentially due to a higher cardiovascular load as a result of higher cardiac output and lower total peripheral resistance. Similarly, there is likely to be an increased syncytiotrophoblast stress from one larger placenta or two placentas that are more rapidly stressed. These disorders are monitored by measuring blood pressure and testing for proteinuria at each appointment, and taking aspirin prophylactically if it is the woman's first pregnancy, her first pregnancy in more than 10 years, if she is over 40, if there is a family history of preeclampsia, or if there is an elevated pre-pregnancy BMI. Twin-twin transfusion syndrome is an extremely serious complication seen in monochorionic pregnancies. There is unequal sharing of the placental circulation, leading to one twin donating blood to the other. Monitoring for this condition is undertaken from the second trimester, around 16 weeks, and if signs are present, then monitoring is undertaken weekly. An example is seen in the schematic on the left here. Signs include comparatively decreased growth, hypovolemia, oliguria and oligohydramnios in the donor twin. In the schematic, this is the twin at the top left. Note that there is less amniotic fluid visible, and if an ultrasound were to be taken, the baby's bladder would be near empty. In the recipient twin, there will be comparatively increased growth, hypervolemia, polyuria, and polyhydramnios. In the schematic, This is the twin in the bottom right. Again, if an ultrasound was taken, we would see this baby's bladder distended. The management of twin-twin transfusion syndrome is varied and depends on the severity of the condition. Serial amniodrainage, that is, the drainage of the amniotic fluid to relieve the amount present within the uterus, is done in mild cases. Septostomy, the creation of an opening in the membrane separating the two amniotic sacs, can be done to equalize the amount of amniotic fluid present within each amniotic sac. A laser ablation of placental anastomoses can be done to prevent blood flowing between the twins through the placenta. A selective cord occlusion can be done as well. This will occlude the donor's cord, and they will die. This is generally done as the outcomes for the donor are likely to be worse than those for the recipient. Cord entanglement is a phenomenon commonly observed in many monoamniotic twin pregnancies. It can be observed on ultrasound and Doppler, and interestingly, may not actually be associated with any negative outcomes. It's likely to be near universal in monoamniotic twin pregnancies. Preterm birth is commonly seen in multiple pregnancies as well, and is typically managed as per usual. Intrauterine growth restriction is often seen. It's more common in one twin, but can be seen in both, and it's also monitored by ultrasound. So that's it. I hope that was useful. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at MidnightMed1200 for more, and we'll see you in the next video.